great about that, other than trying to help people who are in a state of invasion. Welcome back to the Immigration Answer Show. My name is Jim Hacking. This is the Immigration Answer Show. I'll be here for the next hour answering as many of your questions as I can. How's everybody doing? If you haven't already, say hello in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. Good to see everybody. Good to see everybody. Hope you're all having a good day. I'm going to try to get to calls as quickly as possible today. I did want to comment on one little post. Jim, please help me to meet my fiance. We do many things here at Hacking Immigration Law, but we do not help people find fiancés. All right. Let's get started. Jameen is here. Hello, Jameen.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good as well. I had a question regarding my work permit for my fiance. So I just received a work permit for my U visa category, which is C14, and she's on H1B. So I was wondering if I file her on my behalf, would she be able to hold both the work permits, or is there anything regarding that?
I have no idea. I mean, generally, I'm a fan of, getting whatever immigration benefit to which you're entitled. But you're saying, so how far are you in your U visa process?
So I applied. I just received my work authorization like this month, and it's been 2 years since I applied for my U visa.
And your girlfriend, who's not so obviously you're in a relationship with somebody else, right?
Correct.
So you're proposing that you would now get married to this H-1B holder and then try to get some benefit for them through the U visa?
Yes, if it's possible. So we have.
Why would you do that? Your case hasn't even been approved yet. That would be the dumbest thing you could ever do.
Well, can I not put her as my beneficial? Like,
why would you? Why would you introduce the fact that you have a new love interest when you're still going through this process off a case that started with a different love interest? Why would you do that? Especially if they already have status.
Well, it's my U visa status. Like when I asked my lawyer said as soon as I get married, he can file for me and her both.
Well, just because you can doesn't mean you should. I would not do this. This is really dumb.
Okay.
They don't need it. They have an H-1B.
This was just to be safe because her company hasn't filed for a green card. She did her extension. So I was wondering, if there's so many layoffs going on right now, if she gets laid off, then we have we have a work permit on the side where she can get a job and she don't have to go back,
I think it makes your case 10 times more complicated.
Okay.
All right.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks, Jameen. See ya. All right. We're going to fly through them today. I'll tell you what. John is here. Hello, John.
Hey, Jim. How are you? Thanks.
I'm well. How are you doing?
I have a quick question. Me and my wife, we applied for citizenship, I hope you remember, on the same day in November, okay? And you said women get their interview first. So she got her interview done, okay? I got my interview on February 14th, and hers is already completed. And her oath ceremony has come one day before my interview, which is February 13th. So she's going to become a citizen one day before me. And my interview being on February 14th, now on the form when we filled, I did mention that my spouse is not a U.S. citizen. Now,
none of this matters. You'll just tell them when you go to your interview, she became a citizen yesterday, and they'll update the form. When you go to your naturalization interview, half the time is spent fixing the form. Things have changed. People have been born. People have died. People have moved. That's all part of the process when it comes to why you have the interview. So you'll just update them when you're there. No big deal.
Okay, no big deal. That's all. That's what I want to check. So they asked me, is your spouse a citizen? And I mentioned no. I just have to tell them that she became yesterday, and we have to change that, right? That's all?
That's it.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Have a wonderful day.
Bye, John. See you. Good luck on the 14th.
Sure, thank you.
All right. Oh, Vicus is here. Hello, Vicus.
Hello, I was just waiting for you. It's a nighttime here, but I woke up because I just want to ask you a question. When the last time we talked and I asked you what is the fastest way to get him, to meet him, so we can live together. Do you remember or not? My fiance lives in California.
I remember your face. I don't remember anything else.
My fiance lives in California, so we are still trying to find a way to live together. We don't need a green card and other things. We just want to live together. What is the best way?
So, have you met face to face?
Yes,
And you're not currently married?
we tried, but Delhi embassy stopped us. He applied K1 for me, but it, they didn't set up my interview in Delhi embassy. So now we don't know what we do.
So you have a U.S. citizen fiance. They filed an I-129F for you. USCIS approved the I-129F.
Yes,
They made it all the way to the embassy in Delhi, and then Delhi said, no, you can't come.
they didn't say anything. Even we didn't get any mail, any answer from them. Nothing.
Did you have an
Only
interview?
lawyer told us no.
So you're just waiting for the interview.
And we don't know we are getting approval or not. It's more than 2 years. So
2 years sounds crazy. How long ago did USCIS approve the I-129F?
in India, it will take a 1 year.
Oh,
But causes of COVID and other things, maybe it was much longer. I don't know.
no. So
So I asked my lawyer. Yes.
your fiance filed an I-129F. When did USCIS approve the I-129F?
Everything was good. Yeah, it was approved.
When?
I think it was approved from September
Of what year?
this year. Last year, September.
So you're
It
just
was
waiting.
approved.
You're just waiting for an interview.
Yes, but they didn't set up any interview. I don't know why.
Because it's India. Because India is a busy place. There's lots of people in line ahead of you.
But when the last time I talked to my lawyer and they said they extend the dates,
Okay. So what's the question?
so I asked them why were they doing it? Because they don't wanna allow me to go over there.
Who said that? Who has proof of that?
Lawyers.
You're just waiting for an interview. Sounds like to me.
So what should I do? I need to talk to my embassy or someone else.
I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, are you on the chat boards? Are other fiance cases from September getting interviews now? I don't know.
Only lawyers told us it got denial, extend. I don't know. When the last time I talked to my fiance, he told me they extend our case. Mean that.
Yeah, I don't know, Vicus. I'm sorry. I don't have more information. It sounds like you need to talk to your lawyer and maybe get married and refile. All right. Santiago is here. Hello, Santiago.
Hi, Jim. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Can you please turn off my camera if possible?
Done. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank for this amazing job you're doing for us. It's really helpful.
Sure.
I try to make a long story short, and then if you allow me, make some questions.
Go
So
for it.
in August 2021, I was returned to my home country under determination of inadmissibility 235 with a bar of 5 years. I didn't overstay, but they sent me back because they found I made a huge mistake of working with a tourist visa on a previous trip. It was COVID time. I was put under unpaid leave in the company I worked for at that time, and that I'm still working in the same company. I made that mistake, and I have to take responsibility for it. Anyway,
Okay, wait. So let's back up. So you had a visit visa to the United States during COVID. You came to the United States. You worked without permission. How did they figure out that you had worked without permission? By looking at your phone?
that's right. I tried to get into the States in a future visit, and they checked my phone. That's right.
Okay. And
Okay, so
they sent you home and gave you a 5-year bar.
there you go. So life goes on, and eventually I met my wife. We got married in my home country in August 2022. She's a US citizen. She was born there, no married before. At that time, unfortunately, I didn't know about you. So, with the help of other law attorneys, we filed an I-130 petition for me. So,
Yeah.
receipt date is November 2022. No news so far about it. I don't know if the following was a good idea, but attorneys also advised me to file an I-212 waiver, trying to save some time in case it will be required. So we did it. So my first question is like, considering all the facts I just said, I mean, I am the immediate relative of a U.S. citizen. Could you please confirm whether or not I need a waiver so my wife and I don't have to wait until my 5-year penalty to be completed?
When is the 5-year penalty completed?
2026.
And when did you file the I-130?
It was November 2022. We
So
haven't received any news so far about it.
it got receipted, but that's it.
There you go. That's right.
I think most likely you do need the waiver, and if you might end up coming after the 5 years is what I'm thinking. Maybe not. Maybe you'll get the waiver. Maybe not. I don't know about the strength of the waiver case, but I think it sounds like you do need a waiver for misrepresentation and working without permission. So I think probably that 5-year bar is going to stick, but I think you're going to be at USCIS for probably another 4 or 5 months, and then you're going to be, what embassy will you have your interview at?
Colombia.
So Colombia is pretty fast, but that's still at NBC for a year. So I think you're probably going to be I think you'll probably become eligible for the visa right around the time that the 5 years is up.
Oh, wow. Okay. That takes a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Just the last question. My wife, she doesn't have like a traditional job to show like a consistent income to meet the standards of a sponsor. So
Yeah.
I mean, she lives like from investments in the stock market. So lawyers advise us to get a different sponsor. So my wife's brother helped us with that.
Yeah.
And we put his information as a sponsor for the I-130 petition. Do you think
But
we
you're
will have
still,
like?
she's still the main sponsor. You still submitted all of her evidence. He's the co-sponsor, right?
I think so. Yeah. That's right.
Okay. So what's the question?
So I was just was wondering if do you think like we will have issues because my wife is not my sponsor, something like that?
No, that happens all the time.
Oh, okay. So it just like the last question. I'm sorry. Considering like maybe if the I-130 petitions get accepted, but the waiver takes long time, the I-130 petition will be like put on hold or something like that.
Yeah, right. But just for this, again, I think most likely what's going to happen is you're going to find that to process through the National Visa Center to get documentarily qualified to get an embassy appointment, it's going to be right around the time of your 5-year ban coming to an end. So I think you just keep going. I think you just keep going and just know it's going to take a while.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jim. That was it. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Santiago. See ya. JC's here. Hi, JC. You're on mute. I still can't hear you. You're still on mute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. I am 22 years old. I live in the US at the moment. I am looking forward to giving a green card to my dad, who doesn't live in this country anymore. He lives in Mexico at the moment.
Okay.
He lived in the US for about 20 years. About 20 years ago, he would go back and forth from Mexico to the US. And I just want to know if it would be a little bit complicated for him or like for the process because he lived in the US for about 20 years.
It's not so much the living in the United States. When was the last time he was in the United States?
It was about 20 years ago.
Oh, and he lived here off and on for 20 years?
Yes.
And when he would come back and forth, did he have a visa or did he just cross the border or what happened?
No, just cross the border.
So when you this might be really hard to get dad a green card. When you enter the United States without and I don't know what the rules were back then, right?
Yeah.
But when you enter the United States without inspection and then go back to Mexico and then you re-enter, you can trigger a permanent bar. So this is going to be a problem for all of his entries. It's not so much that he was here for a long time. I mean, we'll see what the rules were. I mean, you're going to have to see what the rules were back then, because if it was 20 years ago since he's been here, the rules might have been easier or different, and we don't know about his entries and things. But generally, if he was coming back and forth, that's going to be a big problem, especially if he got caught.
Okay. I don't think he ever did.
He's going to have to document all that stuff. Yeah. So the easy part is going to be getting the I-130 petition, which is I'm a U.S. citizen. I want to sponsor my dad. That part's easy. Then it's going to show up. Then at the next stage, which is the State Department stage, you're going to have to list all of his entries and exits to the United States as best as you can, right? Okay. So that's where he's going to have a hard time coming back, because when you enter and leave more than twice, you really cause problems on your ability to come back. Not saying he won't be able to come back, but I think it's going to be hard.
Okay, that was my main question. I was just worried about that.
Yeah, I'd be worried too.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. All right. I don't know. Somebody's complaining about the waiting room being full. Sorry about that. Jehovah's here. What's up, Jehovah?
Hey, how are you, sir? Thanks for having me. Nice to meet you.
Great. Yeah, for sure.
Super good. Okay. Being quick to be polite to the others. I just got my green card finally after 1 year and 4 months waiting here in Florida, Miami.
Congrats.
And then I have a son. He was born here. My wife is an American citizen, but now he is in Brazil. He was diagnosed with epilepsy, right? So he is under treatment there, and I will have to be there with them for maybe like 4 or 5 months. So I was wondering, like, how long can I stay out of the U.S. without jeopardize my next green card, which is the 10 years one? I know that I have 1 year and 9 months, right? So I don't want to miss that date. So how long can I be out of the country, please?
Sure. So I understand your question, and I want to take it a little bit further. Really, what you're worried about is, how do I set myself up if you want to become a citizen, which is one year.
That will be my next one. Yes, of course.
So when you get your green card, there's 2 things that you have to keep in mind, okay? So let's talk about citizenship first.
Mm-hmm.
So on the day that you apply for citizenship, you're going to have to fill out the form, and you'll be asked 2 big questions, okay? Mm-hmm. One is, have you had any trips outside the United States for more than 6 months? And hopefully you'll say 0. You don't want any trips more than 6 months.
A single trip. One single trip, right?
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Not accumulated.
Correct.
Okay, perfect.
And the other question is, in those last 3 years, have you been in the United States for at least half the time? So total 19 months, 18 and a half months inside the United States. So that's how you set yourself up for citizenship. No trips more than 6 months, no trips totaling, or no total time outside the United States more than half.
Got it.
And of course, that's assuming you stay married, because the 3-year rule is only if you're still married.
Yes, I will. Yes.
Right. So then with your green card, it's sort of the same thing. If you have a trip of more than a year, they can either not let you in or try to take away your green card. So you don't want any trips more than a year, but really for the other reasons I said, you don't want any trips more than 6 months. So gotcha. You could, in theory, if you're not worried about applying for citizenship right away, you could do 4.5 months in Brazil, 3 weeks in America, and if it's just this 1 year where he has to get the epilepsy treatment, you could do 4.5 months, come back for 3 weeks, go for 4.5 months. And then if you come back and stay for 2 years solid, with maybe a trip or here or there to Brazil, then you won't have any trips more than 6 months, and you'll have more than enough time in the United States for your citizenship. So that's what I'd be thinking about.
Okay, got it. Because I was in Brazil in the end of the year. I went on my parole, but when I was there, my green card was approved. So I came back with my parole, got my green card. So that time that I have on my green card, 12/12/2023, it started counting that date, right? Like I was out.
Well, I'm glad you said that. So let's talk about that. because this is another thing that I've seen. Okay, so let's say that you do everything Jim said. Let's say that you didn't have any. We're 3 years in the future. Okay, and you did what I said. You don't have any trips more than 6 months, and you have at least half the time in the United States. There's still one more way they can try to screw you, and you just touched on it, okay? And it's not so much because you were in Brazil, but this is for everybody listening. If you get your green card and you only stay for a couple of days, or like in your situation, if your green card is approved while you're outside, and if you applied too early, one thing that they do is they say, well, we gave you your green card on December 22nd, but you didn't really reside in the United States until January 6th. So if you applied too early in that window 3 years from now, there's a trick that I've seen on some cases where they say your residency didn't really start until January 6th when you came back from that one trip to Brazil.
Wow. Okay.
So you should start the clock after that trip.
So after January 8th was when I arrived here. Okay.
So I would say 3 years from January 8th is when you want to apply, or 2 years from January 8th is when you want to apply for your 10-year green card.
Just to play safe. This can come or cannot come, but just to play safe, use January 8th as my date.
Yeah, because I've seen people apply, like say January 1st, and then they're screwed. And then they paid the fee, they waited a year, and then it gets denied.
Got it. And one more thing, just related to the 10 years green card. So this 1 year and a half that I have to wait, like this 2 years that I have to wait, it's exactly the same thing as the citizenship. I have to be at least half of the period residing.
There's no rule like that, right? So really, the only way you get in trouble in those first 2 years is if you have a trip outside the United States for more than a year.
Got it.
But you don't want to mess around with that. You don't want to be
I won't. Yeah. I already told my wife, as soon as my son is stable, we are going to come back for sure. I was just confused if like the 6 month or the year it was one combined thing, or it was like multiple entrances, So but you just explained that to me. So if it's less than 1 year but short trips, I can do like 3 months and then 3 months and then 3 months, right?
Exactly. Yep. And of course, your wife, who's a U.S. citizen, she can do whatever she wants.
Yeah, she is fine. My son is fine, but I'm in the verge right now.
You're good. You're doing great. You asked all the right questions.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your help. Thank you so much.
You got it. All right. See, I love stuff like that. He's thinking, he's smart, he's taking care of himself, he's making sure he doesn't get in trouble. We love all that stuff. Hey, a good friend of ours is here. Rocio's here. Hello, Rocio. Good to see you. Robert is here. Jamal is here, getting ready to go to Nigeria. Let's go to Nicole. Hi, Nicole.
Hi. Thank you so much for offering this chat.
Sure. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing just great.
Good. So I feel like I'm a lot earlier in this process than probably some of the other people that you talk to.
Sure, that's great.
But I just had some questions about, I guess, where to start, maybe.
Okay.
I am an American citizen, but I'm dating somebody that's from Egypt. And
just like me.
He's a student at the moment, but he's, he was originally thinking of going to Germany, but now since we met, obviously he'd like to come here. The plan long-term is, for us to be together, get engaged, get married, and the whole 9 yards. But I guess there's always that fear with being an American that somebody might be using me for that or whatever. So I guess what would be the best way or the fastest way to get him here quickly, but then also not to jeopardize the possibility that we can eventually in the long term get him a green card and citizenship and all that.
Has he ever been to the United States?
He's never been out of Egypt, no.
How did you meet him?
Actually, he was my tour guide when I went to Egypt. I've been there a couple times since then,
Nice.
and we've, been together since the first time we met, but yeah.
Okay, so what's your overall question? How does the process work, or how do I protect myself if he's just trying to get a green card from me? I'm not sure.
My overall question is, what would be what would you recommend as the best route to get him here as quickly as possible, but also in a way to protect myself? I guess I'm hesitant to just apply for a K-1 visa because of the fear of, oh, that's all he's using me for.
Yeah.
But if there's a possibility to get him here faster, maybe on a student visa, or I was suggesting tourism visa, just so he can at least come and visit as often as he'd like within whatever the parameters are. But I don't know that this is like,
so you're
new.
definitely early. You're definitely early in the process if you're hopeful that a tourist visa is going to work. So in my experience, the United States is not in a big hurry to give young men or women of a marrying age visit visas to the United States.
Right.
So, and of course, Cairo is Cairo, right? So my wife is from Egypt, right? So that's what I meant when I said that. So Amani came to the United States when she was 7, and we practiced law together. So this is a lot different than that. But Jim, what do you think of the chances if he applies for a visit visa to come to the United States that he's going to get it? I would say 1%. So I really think that's off the table. And the other thing I want to tell you, and I have this conversation with people often, which is the immigration system is not built for what you want. What you want is to be able to hang out like you would if he lived in Oakland and you lived in Tallahassee, right? Like you want to be able to see each other, hang out. Well, you can do all that. You just can't do it in the United States because they're not going to give him a visit visa. So student visa, how far did he go in school and how long has it been since he's been in school?
He's on his 3rd year in university at the moment.
Okay. So in theory, he might be able to get a student visa. So he'd have to find a school in the United States that's willing to accept him. He'd have to go through the International Student Office and get admitted, and they would issue him an I-20, and then he would have to apply for a student visa to continue his studies in the United States, right?
Okay.
So I don't know, he might want to pick. If I were him, I would apply to a couple different schools, maybe near where you live, or maybe even not so near where you live, maybe sort of close.
Okay.
But if he comes to the United States on the student visa, then you guys can hang out and do, like I said, the Oakland to Tallahassee thing. You guys can visit and hang out and do all that kind of stuff like a regular couple. What do I think the chances are of him getting a student visa? 40%. 40%.
Okay.
So a little less than half. Now, that means that all that's left really is the K-1 or the I-130. So you're either getting engaged or getting married, and that seems like it might be a little bit more serious than what you want to do.
Well, we are serious. I mean, I just spent another 2 weeks with them and his family and everything. We do plan on getting there. It's just, I guess I'm scared because literally everyone that I know has told me about all the horror stories that they've experienced.
Oh, well, then let me be the counterbalance to that. So every week I talk to an American citizen who has fallen in love with someone who's overseas. And every week they get married and they get their green cards, they get their citizenship, they live long lives together for a very long time. Of course, there are horror stories. You can watch the show for a week and you'll hear some of the horror stories. Just in the last 7 days, we've had some doozies. But what you don't hear are the everyday people going about their lives, falling in love, living nice lives in America.
Right.
So I would be, cautiously optimistic. I would be, smart and safe. There's always going to be a trust factor. There's always going to be, are they marrying me for a green card or not? That's always going to be in the back of your mind. But, you could get screwed by somebody in the United States.
And that's exactly what I've told him before too. He knows of my concerns and he's been willing to try and figure out any other way possible to navigate this as long as we can be together. So that gives me reassurance as well. But I kind of, like you, feel like I should lean more towards following my heart and going through the process, just doing the K-1 visa, because I think that will be the easiest and probably the most streamlined, because eventually that's our goal anyways, But I guess it's just that fear and, hearing from an attorney. I don't know anything about this process. I've never even thought of it. I've never met somebody overseas like this before. So hearing from an attorney, some guidance on that definitely helps calm my nerves a little bit and steer me in the right direction.
I'm always an optimist. I'll talk to my wife today because she usually takes a slightly, she'd be more worried about you like as a mom and as a lawyer and like maybe thinking, but she would also say Egyptian men are great. You're going to have a lot of fun and so there's that too. So I'll be interested to see what she says. This is an interesting question. And if she has any thoughts, I'll share them on tomorrow's show.
Okay. Yeah. I'll make sure to tune in.
All right. Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Have a good day. Yeah, for sure. Thanks for the call. That was great. All right. Let's go to Z. Z's here. What's up, Z?
Hello, Jim. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I am here for one of my brilliant friends who is
I wish I
a
had some brilliant friends.
yeah, okay. He is a German citizen.
Okay.
He was born Turkish, but he got his citizenship in Germany after living there for a long time, and like through his brilliance, actually, because he is now working as a manager in a multinational company that is one of the biggest companies in the field of biology.
Okay.
He has a lot of papers and stuff.
Okay, so
He wants to,
I will concede that he's brilliant and he's smart and he's okay. We're there.
but
Go ahead.
he wants to apply for a green card while he is living in the UK. He's living in the UK right now. With EB1. Is this possible? And are you taking EB1 cases?
Yeah, and what I would say is you should have him send me his resume and a list of who he thinks would write letters of recommendation for him, and then I can tell you what I think.
Okay.
Yeah, we've handled EB1s for sure.
Yeah, okay. That's great to know. I'll talk to him.
We don't charge for that, so just have him send it over, and we'll look it over. Andrew and I'll kick it around, and we'll let you know what we think.
Okay. And he is like he's willing to hire you if you're willing to take EB1 cases. So
yeah, sure. Send it on over, and we'll go from there.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Have a
Thanks,
great day.
See you, buddy. Yeah, for sure. All right, Manchester. What do you say, Manchester?
Hey, Jim. Thanks for adding me to the call. I just have a quick question. I don't know if it'd be so quick. So this morning I got an RFIE request for initial evidence for my my wife actually got it for I-130. So it was asking for she checked her online account, we both checked, and it says more proof of bona fide marriage. But then it's like initially we sent in, a bunch of evidence. So I don't know now. Should we send?
What's a bunch of evidence to you? Tell me what a bunch of evidence is to you.
Okay, so we sent a lease for our apartment that we just got. Then we sent some pictures.
How many?
We sent about 20 with descriptions, the time.
Yeah. Yep.
Then we sent car insurance. We sent our driver's license, both of our driver's license. We also sent some gifts and stuff, receipts, Amazon receipts, and all that. And we sent a couple others from that.
Great. So let's back up for a minute. So you're the beneficiary, right?
Yes.
Where are you from?
I'm Nigeria.
When did you come to the United States?
I came to the United States 2017.
On a visit visa?
On a visit visa, yes.
So you never went back?
So within a year, my mom applied for asylum.
Okay.
Then put me.
So that was pending ever since?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So how old was the relationship at the time that you got married?
Is it before we got married or?
Yeah. How long did you know each other before you got married? Yeah.
Oh, so we went to high school together. So 2 years.
That's good.
Yeah.
So you should have a lot of evidence together.
Yeah. So we have pictures. We sent a bunch of stuff, from through high school, everything, all that, and they sent the RFIE.
All right. So just time out real quick, Manchester. So for everybody listening, when he started the call and told me he got an RFIE for bona fide marriage evidence, I was about to not chastise him, but I was about to sort of say, "Hey, everybody! I'm hearing more and more of this, Manchester. I'm hearing from more and more people that they're getting requests for evidence or notice of intent to deny for not submitting a lot of marriage evidence at the beginning." Okay, so I was sort of going to criticize you for that, but to me, it seems like you've submitted a lot of evidence. So now what I'm going to say, instead of what I was going to say, now I'm going to say I think USCIS is trying to get rid of cases, and that everybody better be careful about submitting as much evidence as possible. Those days when you could submit just a little at the beginning and think you're going to sail right through are over, especially given the fact that they aren't doing interviews anymore. So I think that in their mind is if they get enough evidence and then they send an RFE and get more evidence, then they can just adjudicate the case based on what you submitted and still not have to have the interview. So I think you're doing fine. So what's the question for me?
So the thing is, so we just bought a house.
Yeah.
And we are both on the
mortgage.
But then it's like we have an apartment now. We didn't read the terms of the lease, so we signed a 1-year lease, so we can't move out of the house now. So I don't know. Should I add the mortgage that we just got? Would that look like, okay, why are you guys not leaving in the house yet? Or
there's no rule that says you can't include an explanation.
Okay.
So you could say, look, we bought this house. We're going to move there. We didn't realize when we bought it that we can't move in. I mean, there's a shitload of paperwork that happens when you buy a piece of property. So not just the mortgage, but
the deed. So the lease we have for the current apartment.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is when you buy a piece of property, I would include all that stuff and say, look, we bought this building. We're going to move in there in August when our lease is up. But you should have gotten a ton of documentation related to that purchase. That's a huge thing. That's one of the best. I would say, other than having a kid, buying a house together is like the best evidence there is.
Oh, really? Yeah, I have that. I have all that. The title, she's on it and everything.
Yeah. Good. I think you're doing okay. Yeah.
So just add that and add like our updated insurance information. Should I add the lease I sent in before?
More pictures. I would say a couple affidavits from friends who know that it's a legit marriage.
Okay. Should I add the old lease or no?
Yeah.
Any old stuff or no?
Yeah, but you have to walk them through it. So you need a cover letter explaining why you're attaching all this shit.
Oh, okay.
What it all means.
Okay.
Got to make it easy. Got to make it easy for them.
Make it easy for them. Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely create a cover letter, then attach the lease with the new house we just bought, and kind of walk them through the whole thing.
And don't forget, they're racist against people from Nigeria. So don't forget that. So that means you're sort of held to a higher standard.
Oh, okay, makes sense. Yeah, I'm good. I'm clean. I met my wife, in high school. We've been
like you came as a kid.
Yeah, I came in when I was like 13 years old. So
yeah, but here's the thing. I honestly believe this. They just see Nigerian on there, and that just sends it off on a totally different level of scrutiny.
Yeah.
Even though you were 13.
Yeah, still don't care.
I hate to say it. I bet somewhere someone is doing an investigation as to whether you were married back in Nigeria, even though you were
13 years old.
Yeah, I can almost guarantee it.
Wow. So, and also, I was also wondering, can they send another RFE after this one? Because Okay.
Yeah, they can send an RFE. They can send a notice of intent to deny if they want to. Yep.
Okay, because I did my I-64 with me the beneficiary income, and I was thinking that was what they were actually gonna send for the RFE.
So I vote no on that. I would get a co-sponsor. It's very, very difficult to get them to pay attention to you as the beneficiary income provider.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay, sounds good.
See you, bud. Yep, later. All right. Jamal says, Jim, they hate Nigerians because of the reputation of the country, and they assume everyone from there is coming in to scam them. Oh, don't I know it? Not fair for sure, but that's definitely true. Cynthia is gone. Let's say Talal. What is up, Talal?
Hi, how are you? Thank you for giving me an opportunity to be with you.
You got it, buddy.
So I have been reading your all of your videos and your websites, and they are very, very helpful, and they actually helped me to take one of the decisions. So I have a kind of a scenario, and I would like your opinion on it.
Okay, sure.
So I got my green card on June 2020. So actually my wife is a US citizen, but at the time when I got my green card, I had a bad road traffic accident, and my treatment was being continued in Pakistan. And there were quite several surgeries were planned, and the treatment is still under progress. And the other thing that is that I was studying at the moment in Pakistan as well. So since 2020 up till now, I have not made any trip outside United States more than 160 days. I have been here at least 2 or 3 times a year. I have maintained my ties.
Here is where? In the United States?
In United States, yes.
Where are you
And
right now?
I'm in New York.
Okay.
And
So just real quick, so when you got your green card, did you get it through the adjustment of status process or an immigrant visa process?
Immigrant visa, yes.
Okay. So when did you get approved? When did your visa get approved? Roughly.
In 2020, I got my green card.
What month did you get your visa?
June 22. That was in May, and in June I got my green card.
In America. In America.
Yes.
Okay. And then when did you leave the United States?
Then I traveled frequently, and after a month or two, because I had to go back for my education and for my treatment outside. So I kept on traveling, and so
Coming back and forth, or just staying out for a really long time?
Coming back and forth.
Okay. All right.
And so actually, so in this time, I have maintained my ties over here. I have address. My daughter is born here. She is going to school here. So the things got kind of complicated in the September 2023 when I came after 3 months. And the officer definitely permitted me to come to the United States. But he kind of questioned at the port of entry that why did you went back in May 23? So I told him that my treatment is pending and is being continued in Pakistan, and he kind of verified my ties. He said that, okay, give me your address. And I told him about my daughter, my wife. So he was satisfied. He gave me kind of entry, but
kind of entry? You mean he gave you deferred inspection, or he gave you something else?
He gave me an entry. There was kind of nothing like that, and there was no inspection like that. There was only kind of interrogation, and afterwards, and then I stayed here for 4 months, and I came back recently, 2 weeks back. So at the port of entry, she said me that it's in the system that you are staying too much time outside. So do you know about re-entry permit? At that time, I didn't know. Then I came here and I kind of listened to all of your videos, and I have applied for re-entry permit. So I have a few specific questions about that. And one of the question is that since I'm a lawful permanent resident, and if my re-entry permit is issued, can I travel on that re-entry permit validity time period multiple times or only one?
Multiple.
Okay. The other thing which I want to know that since the last 3 years,
so just so you know, like if I had a time machine, we'd go back in time right now and get your re-entry permit 2 years ago, right? Or even when you first came and got your green card, because the re-entry permit would have kept you from getting in trouble with CBP.
Okay, but at present there was no kind of trouble, but he asked me to get a re-entry permit, and which I took.
You're getting pretty close to trouble.
Yeah. So as per your advice, I have a kind of filed for re-entry permit.
Good.
And that has been in the progress since 2 or 3 days. So I want to know that how much time it takes for UCS nowadays.
Everyone's telling me a year
to get a re-entry permit. In the state of New York as well.
I think if anything, New York's going to be slower than not faster.
Okay, so if I have to travel after 2 months, what can I do?
You shouldn't. You're lucky they haven't tried to take your green card. You're lucky they haven't tried to put you in removal proceedings. You've barely been here. And we can't forget, I'm Muslim, right? We can't forget you're a man from Pakistan. They discriminate and they do it. If they can take away a green card from a man from Pakistan, it's almost like they get a little reward, a little award. So you're playing. I mean, I'm sure you had to go to school. I'm sure you had to get medical treatment, but I don't care about any of that stuff. All I care about is your green card. So when it comes to your green card, you're playing with fire. You're being way too cute and way too clever. So if Jim's in charge and Jim has a magic wand, Talal stays here until Talal gets his reentry permit. Now, in the old days, Talal could go back to Pakistan and have his wife or somebody else send him the reentry permit. I think those days are over. I don't know for sure, but I don't want you to be the one to find out whether those days are over or not.
Thank you. And the other thing that they say, and even if you have mentioned that, so you can only leave once your biometrics are done. Is this correct?
I've heard that. So at the very least, you shouldn't leave until your biometrics are done. Now, they might send you a letter and say your biometrics, we still have them on file, but probably not if you got your green card through the embassy. So I think most likely you'll have to do biometrics, and you should definitely wait until then. Otherwise, you shouldn't have even filed it.
No, I have filed it.
No, I'm saying, but if you don't wait for biometrics, it's a waste of time. You should have saved your money.
Got it. And the other thing which I wanted to know, that there are two requirements, and you have mentioned it in your videos, that it's a simple mathematics. Either you have the required number of days for naturalization, and either you don't. So I wanted to know that if anyone comes to you with kind of this plea that they are married to a U.S. citizen, they have the green card, but they don't have continuous days, but they have continuous residence, not physical residence. So this makes a case, or until there is 1.5 years completed, then you won't ask anyone to apply.
As I said on the video, it's just math. You could be married to the best U.S. citizen. You could have kept some stuff here. You could do all kinds of stuff. But literally, it's counting days, and it's our burden to prove that you are eligible for naturalization and that you have enough days here in the United States.
Okay, and as far as the naturalization is concerned, I wanted to know that since you said that there should be total number of days. So, for example, in 2024, so I should have the days in a continuous manner, or the previous days are also included?
So remember, you don't want any trips more than 6 months. That's one thing. And the other one is, if let's say you apply on my birthday, September 13th, 2024, okay? So then
Yes.
the question then would be 2023, 22, 20. So between September 14th, 2021 and September 13th, 2024, did you spend at least 1 year, 6 months, and a few days in the United States total or not? That's the question. And had no trips more than 6 months. Those are the two questions.
So that means that if I continue to reside here, but if I have to go for 1 month or two, then there's a break. But all those times that is continuing from today, that will continue.
The way I always think about it in my simple little head is there are good days and bad days. Good days are the days I'm here. Bad days are the days I'm not here, right? So that's how I think about it as far as the counting.
Okay, and considering this important aspect, that when she kind of entered my green card in the system, she said that it's in the system that that you are staying outside quite a longer. So I just wanted to know that, for example, if I get the re-entry permit, and if I have to travel once or twice in a year to meet my family, but that travels are multiple, would that be fine, sir?
Any trips more than 6 months?
No, definitely no.
Yeah, so those are just bad days out of the United States, and you just need to get good days on the back end to balance it out.
Okay, and as soon as I have stayed some more months here, that would be kind of the clock will be back.
But you have to look at everything, because you might be losing good days on the 3 years back. That's why you have to, first of all, make sure that you're keeping track of all your travels, because that's going to make this easier. But then we're going to have to go back. You might have good days all around September of 21, right? So we have to think and make sure. I would do a spreadsheet on Google Sheets. I would color code it green and red, green and red. Green are good days, red are bad days, and then see when there'll be a time where it's okay for you to apply. I have a client who is a musician, and he and his wife leave the United States and come and go. I mean, that's really hard. They leave for 3 days, and then they're gone for 21, and then so they got to keep track of everything. So it's our burden. If we don't make them happy, then you don't get your citizenship. All right, I'm going to bounce, Talal. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
You got it, man. See ya.
Bye.
All right. I think Cynthia's back. Is she locked again? No, here she is. How you doing, Cynthia?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. What's up?
Well, Jim, I'm married to a green card holder. I'm Brazilian. He's Brazilian too, and we hire a consulting company to help me with my forms to adjust status.
Boo. Okay.
And this company told us to apply last month, the end of December. We sent all the forms, the I-130 and the 485 all together, but the bulletin is not allowing this date.
Right, which is why you don't use form companies, because they don't know what they're talking about and they say dumb stuff.
Yes.
Did they cash your check for the 45, or did they just send it back?
No, they sent it back. I received this today, but my stay here in USA, my visa stay is until February 12th. So I have more 13 days, and I don't want to be here in illegal.
Right.
What is the best option? To apply for the form 539, or to go to somewhere, stay a while in another country and return?
It's 4 years until that visa is going to become available. There's a backlog. Do you know about the visa bulletin? It
was current until September.
Yeah, but everybody know. Yeah, everyone. Yeah, in September of last year, it all changed, and now there's like a 3 or 4 year wait for the spouses of green card holders. So filing an I-539 would not do much. It would get you maybe 6 more months, but most likely no. So I think you got to go back home to Brazil. Do you have a multiple entry visa, or do you have a one-time entry visa?
I have a multiple entry. I'm here with B2, and it's a multiple entry.
How long is it good through?
Until 2032. Okay,
so that's great. You're really lucky. And so what I would not mess around with an I-539, because see, here's the thing. First of all, let me ask you this question. You got married on this trip?
No, last trip, but it was on May 2023.
Okay, so when did you enter and when did you get married on that trip?
I entered on February last year. We got married on May. Then I went to Brazil on July and returned on August.
Yeah, so see, now things have changed a little bit, because when you got your visit visa, you weren't married to a U.S. citizen, right? Now you're married to a U.S. citizen.
Yes.
And that U.S. citizen has filed an I-130 petition for you. And by filing that I-130 petition, you have done what's called demonstrated immigrant intent. You said, I don't want to just come visit anymore. I want to come stay in the United States. And I want to become eventually to get a green card and then my citizenship. So it's good that you have that visa, because if you were to go back to the embassy now and tell them that you're married, they probably wouldn't give you a visit visa to the United States. So you're lucky that you have that. But the other problem is that every time you come back, CBP could look up the case and see that your spouse filed for you, and then they might not let you in because they think you're just going to hang out and wait for your green card. So I would be very careful. I think you're in a spot now where you come to the United States for 6 months and leave for 6 months. Come for 6 months and leave 6 months. I don't think you want to be coming back and forth like a regular tourist anymore.
Okay.
How long has your spouse had their green card?
5 years. 5 years.
Why doesn't he apply for citizenship?
Because it's turned to 5 years like a couple months ago, and we are prioritizing my process.
No. Because, okay. All right. So what you should do is have him apply for his citizenship. You have the I-130 on file. Well, the I-130 is already on file, right?
Right. Yes. I already received the receipt.
Right. So, okay, and your visit visa your trip expires like in 13 days.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. There's some things I want to say to you that I don't want to say on camera. That there's ways I think we can make this work, but I don't want to talk it all through here. Okay. So can you email me and I'll talk to you tomorrow? I can talk to you and your husband together tomorrow if you want, or later on in the week.
And on info at hackingimmigration.law.com.
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Cynthia. Have a good day.
You.
All right. All right. That was a good call. I think we can help over there. Bittersweet. What's up, Bittersweet?
Hey, Jim. How are you?
You know I'm a sucker for calling people laying on the couch.
Yeah,
But
I knew you were going to call
prefer
me.
when they have their shirt on like you do. So thank you. What's up?
Hey, first of all, I could feel you kind of like on a previous call, just like getting ready to like, hey, stop
Yeah.
everything you guys are doing. Do this, do this, do this. But yeah, so bittersweet approval. Because today we, me and my wife got the I-13485 interview, and we went in, and it was the weirdest interview I've ever heard of.
Now that's saying something. If you've been watching this show, so what happened? What field office?
Baltimore.
Oh, Baltimore. What happened?
I've been watching this show since I started at the 100th episode, and I've been watching every single show since then. And I've gone back and watched all the first 100
Oh my gosh.
episodes.
So you had to be ready, even though something weird happened. You had to be ready if you watched this crazy show.
I was way too ready, actually.
Okay, so what happened?
So we got there. First of all, we sent in crazy amount of evidence, a whole lot, and we brought in a whole lot more. When the lady called us in by the number, she said she would do it separately. I was like, Stokes interview. That sounds good. My wife went in about 10, 15 minutes later. She walked out. I go in, and I had my attorney. She started asking me questions like, "Hey, where do you live? Where do you work?" Pretty much, like, she asked me a total of 5 questions, and that was it. And she printed the document, the 2 forms, and handed it over to me, saying, "Hey, I cannot approve it now, but hopefully I will do it by the end of the day because I have other interviews." And I looked at my attorney, and he looks at me. He goes, "I don't know what's happening here. It's very weird." We walk out so excited, so happy. We get in the car. I drive home, and when I get home, I realize she did not ask for the medical exam, and I did not remember to give it to her.
Yeah.
So later on in the afternoon, they sent an RFE asking for that, for that medical exam, pretty much.
Can you go bring it there tomorrow?
I wish I could. I wish I could just go in there. But in the RFE, they asked for the medical exam and a form because we added the child. We added.
Wait, did she approve the I-130?
No, it hasn't changed. The status hasn't changed online yet.
So there's no approval. There's no approval to be bittersweet about yet, right?
Yeah, but she said she was going to approve it, and the RFE asked just for the medical exam on the 485. So it sounds good. Let me say it that way.
Okay.
It is sounding good, and I was
very surprised. When you say it was weird, you just mean you were surprised at how fast it was.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, were you ever married before?
No.
Okay. All right.
Not married before, pending asylum. That's why we even think that we are called in for the interview. But in there, no questions about it. And
what'd your wife say about her part?
She also had 5 questions.
Oh.
And it was just the same questions that I was asked, and we all had the same exact answers. And that was pretty much it. And it was unique. I mean, I've heard of interviews, but never one of this one.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, I think now remember that USCIS is not having interviews in lots of cases. They've really cut down on them. You probably have experienced officers who are sort of like, why did they send me this guy's case? He's got a ton of evidence. It's really sort of silly. I guess I'll go through the motions and do this interview. And I mean, did they ask you any of the inadmissibility questions? Like, have you ever been a terrorist or a drug dealer or helped someone? See, so that's weird. So that gives me pause.
That's what was very strange to me too. Like none of the, I mean, we did the interview prep questions with the attorney, and he went through it, and I'm like,
has your attorney? Did your attorney say anything that they know about this officer?
no, it was the first time my attorney attended an interview at that office. It was Andrew.
Oh, my Andrew. Oh, okay. That we're fine. If we did it, I think you're fine.
Yeah.
Oh, Baltimore's great. I love Baltimore. Okay. Well, let's just wait and see what happens. I'll talk to Andrew tonight when he gets home, okay?
Okay. All right. Thank you. A quick question. I even forgot the question that I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
This does not apply to me in any sense, but I think I read somewhere on Facebook, someone was asking a question. If the person gets here as a green card holder through the diversity visa and marries a U.S. citizen, like 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, they didn't know each other, they just met, they got married.
Yeah.
Can that person apply under the 3-year rule?
It's a little bit different. So the two things have to be true. One, they have to have had their green card for at least 3 years, and they have to have been married to the U.S. citizen for at least 3 years. So it would be, you would need both those things to coincide. So let's say you enter on January 1st, but you get married on April 1st. You need 3 years from April 1st, both things being true, and then you could apply instead of after 5.
Okay, so it does not necessarily, you don't need to get your green card through marriage to qualify for the 3-year rule.
Exactly right.
Okay, all right.
Thanks, man. See ya. All right, everybody. We're at the 1 hour mark. That'll do it for today's show. We'll be back tomorrow. No show on Thursday, so tomorrow might be the last show of the week. I might do one on Friday, but definitely tomorrow, 4 o'clock from Casa de Jim. We'll do it tomorrow. Hope you all have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow at 4. Thanks, everybody, and thanks.